I don't suffer, no be small. But say I get sense. Poverty no good at all. Now it make I join this business. For one night, no be cheap. It's once again, everybody be there. If anybody follow move, my brother, I go chop back. National airport, National stadium, President, my sister, brother, we the Mogo, I be the master. Oh, man, I go chop your dollar, I go take your money, disappear. For one time in love, we the Mogo, I be the master. The refinery, the contract, now you wife. But you won't pay me some more money, make I bring her. You really move, I really master. When no, you won't pay why you. You go back I say, I don't see them fire. That's why when they run enter my mouth, I go show them fire. National airport, National stadium, President, my sister, brother. Refinery, the contract, now you wife. But you won't pay me some more money than I bring up. I be the master. Now me be the master.
All right. Pardon me. So, all right. So that was a little bit of a high life music there, a throwback. That was the genre of music that some of us grew up on, and really, that some of us still hunker after. But there it is. Good day to you. Good to be in your company and all that. A swift little afternoon session, reacting then to Peter Obi'S latest outing within the media space. So a lot to unpack, of course, from the Peter Obi outing on Channels TV. So we'll get into it straight away. But before we do that, click on the like button if you would, please. Click on like. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the platform. Please do that. If you want to come and join me on the screen, there's a hyperlink that says StreamYard. That brings you into the studio space. And share the links just as widely as you can, especially on Facebook. I'm not seeing enough sharing on Facebook. So share the link just as widely as you can on all of the platforms that you are on, any of the platforms that you are watching us from. So yes, like, share, subscribe, click on the hyperlink that says StreamYard to come and join me on the screen. And share the links just as widely as you can. Super chats towards the stream as well. I always say that. So all those, why don't we just get started? Peter Obi, of course, came out a couple of days ago on our Channels TV. So let's see what we're making of what he had to say.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the program. This is Sunday Politics, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimale here in Abuja. Tonight on Sunday Politics, we bring you an exclusive and perhaps unmissable conversation with the 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi. This is going to be his very first extended sit-down conversation and interview since the unveiling of the emerging opposition coalition platform anchored by the African Democratic Congress, ADC. As the political temperature begins to rise ahead of the 2027 election and as opposition figures align to challenge President Bola Tinubu and the ruling APC, Mr. Obi opens up to us on the program exclusively on the state of the nation, the deepening economic and security crisis, and where he stands in the evolving coalition talks in these over 1 hour special. He speaks candidly about his continued role in the Labour Party, his assessment of the Tinubu administration, his thoughts on Nigeria's democratic future, and notably his position on a single-term presidency should he run again. It's a conversation loaded with insight, strategy, and vision. Once again, welcome to the program. And let me bring you the very first portion of our conversation with the 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi. Your Excellency, Mr. Peter Obi, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Sen, for having me.
How have you been?
Surviving.
Quite a while. Interesting. I saw you yesterday and in the ADC, the flag of the unveiling of the coalition platform. How did that come?
Well, you can see what we said. The coalition just adopted a party for 20.
Already, that's the one of the problems, one of the major problems I have with Nigerian journalism is their inability to ask the right and the most astute question. Rather than how come, the question should be, why were you there? That's the question. So I saw you at the unveiling of our ADC as the platform that a certain opposition actors are going to use to prosecute the 2027 election. But what were you doing there? That should have been the question, not how come, but what were you doing there?
27. So we're trying to work together. You know, the oppositions are trying to come together to work together for the sake of Nigeria.
So, what does this then mean? Does it mean that you are an ADC member or a Labour Party member?
Today, I'm a Labour Party member, and I remain in Labour Party. But we have all agreed to work in coalition for 2027 election. And for that, we've just adopted ADC. Going on, other parties, other individuals.
And by the way, there's a lot of we being used by Peter Obi. So by saying we, of course, is then telling us that it's very much party to what is going on. When he says we adopted ADC as the platform, that is to say that he is part of that adoption of ADC as the platform. Because, of course, he's saying we, which is an inclusive word that includes I. I is included in we. So that's Peter Obi right there, telling us frontally now that is part of the ADC, whatever it is. Is it a movement? Whatever ADC is, Peter Obi is now telling us he's part of it.
I'm going to still come in. But it's just like an unveiling, like you used it before, an adoption, which will still go into bringing other people together under the same umbrella and saying,
You know, Peter Obi has the most peculiar hand gestures. Because, of course, it doesn't have the verbiage, it doesn't have the language grasp to, and it doesn't even have the functioning to formate the thought, and then it doesn't have the language skills to give expression to whatever those thoughts are. You know, when people have foggy thoughts that is not even fully condensed in their head, and then they don't have a language to express because it's an instinctual sort of a person, Peter Obi, rather than a thinking sort of a person. So his instincts they incline in a certain way, but it doesn't have the function to give formation in his head to what his instincts are telling him, and it doesn't have the language skills then to give expression to that. So that is why you see all of those hand gestures, which is to try to communicate instinctually what he doesn't have the verbiage to express vocally?
We want better governance for this country. We want to see more competent.
Just as an aside, Peter Obi has the most peculiar head shape. You know, I've never really noticed that, but he has the most peculiar head shape.
Government with the capacity and character to do the right thing.
So at some point you are going to leave Labour Party. Is that it?
Well, where we are, the coalition, this coalition might have other parties that will come.
So that wasn't a full throttle no, by the way. So that is to indicate then that his bags are packed. So are you going to, does that mean you are leaving the big Labour Party? If he's firm in his footing in the Labour Party, he will say a very assertive no. But then he goes well and he starts to gesticulate with the hand again.
Together, like it's happened in the past, and change the name of the party, anything. But right now, we've adopted one party. The other ones are going to come in. So we can't say whether we're going to leave this or we're going to come into this.
So what he's saying there, I'm going to scroll that back just a microsecond, just so you're clear on what he's saying. It says that we've adopted one party and probably at some point others will come in. So rather than leave the Labour Party, what he's suggesting, almost even proposing, is that the Labour Party collapses into this wider structure that Atiku is arrowheading.
Well, where we are, the coalition, this coalition might have other parties that will come together, like it's happened in the past, and change the name of the party, anything. But right now, we've adopted one party. The other ones are going to come in. So we can't say whether we're going to leave this or we're going to come into this. What is constant mind that we've all agreed to work together?
The implication is a legal one. Whether or not, as someone who is intended to run for office, you have the ability to participate or be in two political parties, it then means that will affect your ability.
So there's a difference in between intention and things. I said I'm a member of this, and I'm going to work with this group. So it's like, oh, well, I want to invest in this company, where they say, oh, you cannot be in two companies at the same time. But I have indicated my intention. I want to go into this. That is not.
Well, you don't see it as anti-party.
No. There's not an anti-party.
Well, because I don't think Labour Party has agreed to.
Remember, we said for 2027. Say we're not in 2027, we're in 2025. It's clear. We've adopted this for 2027. So if I say I'm going to this,
it's not actually clear because as ever, Peter, this response is not consistent with the question. Shehu is saying that the Labour Party has said they are not party to the coalition, but Peter Obi is saying that we have adopted. So who is the we? So on whose behalf is he speaking? Is he speaking as an individual or as a member of the Labour Party? And if he's speaking as a member of the Labour Party, then it goes back to the original question that Shehu asked him, that is this anti-party activity? Because if the Labour Party is not in a coalition talks with the Atiku coalition, and Peter Obi is, and he's saying that he's adopted that as his vehicle, and is claiming also then to be a member of the Labour Party, then you cannot be in two political parties both at the same time, which is the question that Shehu is asking him. So it's either he's struggling to understand it or it's being evasive.
It doesn't say, oh, well, listen, I want to be Shehu, I want to be able to be part of your dinner in the evening. That doesn't mean I should abandon my breakfast and lunch because I intended to come and eat your dinner. No, we're going there. So we're going to go together. We are not abandoning where we are. At some stage, when that happens, you know.
So you are thinking of being a running mate to Atiku. Is that the case right now? That's your intention?
Again, Shehu, this is not in play. Nobody have ever discussed that.
You know why I'm asking?
People assume so many things. Nobody have ever discussed with me whether I'm going to be A or B or C. Shehu, I'm going to contest for the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and I believe I'm qualified for it.
You know the reason why I'm asking this? The coalition has been touted as Atiku-led coalition, and there are those who.
Okay, so let's not just let that slide. So what Peter Obi said right there is that he's going to be contesting to be the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and is qualified to do so. So that's a declaration of intent right there. There's no equivocation about those words. So if he's going to contest, that means then he's not going to deputize. And if Atiku then wins the ADC presidential ticket, which Atiku almost certainly will then Peter Obi cannot then be his deputy. He can just be a bystander supporter, but he cannot be his deputy because he's already stated his intentions. And if he doesn't get the ADC ticket, then does he go back then to the Labour Party and try to make amends? But it's quite clear, there is no equivocation. He says it is his intention to run to be the president. That's what he said.
Think that organization of coming together, that marriage is for an Atiku platform to run.
People just assume anything in this country. And I don't believe in assumption. I don't live with it. I'm part of a coalition which will be able to produce a competent president with the capacity, compassion to save this country.
Okay. So out of all of those descriptives that Peter Obi gave there, which one of those applies to Atiku Abubakar? The competence, the compassion, and the ability to deliver the country. Which one of those? Does Atiku strike you as a compassionate sort of a person? Does Atiku strike you as a competent sort of a person? Or does Atiku strike you as somebody looking to deliver anything other than huge words of money into his own bank account? So which one of the criteria that Peter Obi has just elucidated is applicable to Atiku Abubakar?
And you look at the assemblage in that room. Some have described them as getratics, who are old and dumb politically, who have been former this, former that. And this is Peter Obi, and your reputation, you know what your reputation is with the Nigerian people. There are those who think that Peter Obi stands for a ray of hope, a beacon of hope for a lot of young Nigerians. And your association with some of those who have been described as spent, former this, former that. You don't think that there's a problem that
So the question Shehu is asking him there, it all wraps around the structure of criminality that Peter Obi has been promising to dismantle. So now, what Shehu is inviting then that you have been running around the country telling us how you are going to dismantle the structure of criminality. There is no structure of criminality greater than Rotimi Amechi, Atiku Abubakar, etc., etc. So by your association with these people then, have you then abandoned that stated mission of dismantling the structure of criminality? That's the undercurrent of that question. Let's see what Obi says in response.
Contradiction.
So, when a leader comes into the scene, you lead everybody. Your job is to change. You change the old, you change the young. You don't just say, oh, my job as a leader is to change those who are not even, and if you look at it, it's about everywhere in the world. Those who brought out change everybody. Even for those of us, I'm sure it's in Islam, it's within the Quran, it's in the Bible.
You see, and you will notice this as a consistent theme all the way through this interaction. The Peter Obi's it's just gibberish anyway. We all know that all he ever spews is gibberish. But Peter Obi's response, as ever, is not consistent with the question being put to him. So it's not in this instance. And as we go through, I've not yet watched this thing, by the way. We are watching it together so I can give a real live reaction to it. So as we go through to the very end of this particular media outing, there is no single question that Obi will be asked that his response will be consistent with the question being asked him. He will just talk gibberish all the way through.
That those who actually, like Paul, who was previously Saul, who actually wrote everything, was one of those who were major persecutors of Jesus Christ and his sin. But God changed. They want good governance.
So like a Messiah. That's what you want to be.
Whatever you call it.
A political Messiah.
It's not for me to say, oh, this one is bad, this one is good. No. It is for everybody to come together and show that you can do things better.
Is it not contradictory, though? There are those who say some of them had planned to sustain military rule in Nigeria. Some of them had run severally in the government that Nigerians thought that had failed. And you say you want to reform Nigeria. Is it not contradictory?
In fact, you need some who has been in bad government. Their experience is critical. I can tell you one of the major companies in the world hired 2 people who have worked in several failed companies because they can tell you what happened, why they failed. In the experience of those who have failed and those who have succeeded to move on. And I need everybody. You need everybody. It is a critical experience because they know what can fail a system. And they know what was wrong with the system. So you need everybody.
Okay, so he needs the experience of both those who have failed and who have succeeded. So now, we all know the people that have failed, that are part of the coalition, but who is a success that will bring a counterweight narrative? So it says you need a balanced space. But out of the whole list of all of them, is it Dino Melaye that is a success, or Atiku Abubakar, Rotimi Amechi, Aregbesola, who under whom it was taking 6 months to get a passport when he was Minister of Interior, or is it David Mark that fought tooth and nail for Nigeria not to go back to democracy? So who amongst them is a beacon of success or an example of how things should be done? So this is the question.
If you want to serve, you must serve everybody.
In all of this, the ultimate goal and agenda is to ensure that 2027, this government and this party, APC, led by President Tinubu, is swept out of prominence. That's the agenda, isn't it?
Yes.
And by all means, you are going to pursue it.
We're not going to do it by all means. We're going to do it by all lawful means to make sure, because we've seen the failure, we've seen the incompetence of the government, we've seen they don't have the capacity to do the job. So you just have to do for the sake of our children.
If this option, one of the options is for you to be a running mate, you will still keep it?
There's no option here, Sue. We're not talking about options.
So he has to be on the ballot.
Well, the rest is for Nigerians to decide.
Let me ask you, is there anything specifically that has been happening in Nigeria since the 2023 elections that has strengthened your resolve to want to run again in 2027?
You could see it everywhere. We have an incompetent government. As president of Nigeria, I'll bring civility and order in governance. I'll govern with
it will bring civility, just the sort of civility that we see with the obedient movement. That is the civility that will bring to governance.
With the Constitution of Nigeria. I will respect the Constitution of Nigeria. I will govern within the laws. The government will obey the law. I will do appointment by federal character. I will appoint competent persons with capacity and compassion for good of Nigeria. People that are worthy of emulation. So I'm not going to be Minister of Petroleum, like it's been. Every ministry will have substantive minister with competence, who has the character, compassion, and capacity to run that ministry. But saying that
Is it describing Yemsen Wike, I wonder, because all of those descriptions are applicable to Yemsen Wike?
things that as president I will have hands-on reported to me daily or real time. Number one is security of life and property of every Nigerian citizen. Number two is basic education of our children. Because we must put those 18 million people as of them. So it is more important for Nigeria to invest in education than oil. The human capital of Nigeria, considering its population, is a huge asset. I will make sure that hands-on, I know anything that happens about health of Nigerians, starting from primary health care, ensuring we increase the insurance coverage, with the rich will pay, with the poor will benefit, and everything. So I will make sure that I know real time what happens with agricultural products, which will drive the foundation of our manufacturing. I want to know what power we are generating daily and distributed daily. And I want to look at the SMEs, the manufacturing, to ensure that they are properly supported with adequate interest rates.
And I'd like to go into details of some of the crucial areas, because you campaigned in 2023, and there are those who say, well, all of the things that this government said they would do are the things that Peter Obi'S also said he was going to do. And I'll come to those things in a bit. But all of these things you mentioned, you said you're going to do only in one single time of 4 years.
Oh yes, it's just to know what is happening to them daily. And you don't have to solve them overnight.
So you don't want to spend more than 4 years as president?
Completely.
To be elected?
That's it. So you can actually do all of it. You can actually, nobody expects 100% result. They expect 100% sacrifice and effort. So we know we're driving there. So there's nobody that's gotten anywhere is going in one day. But if we set out to go to Kaduna today, say people want to see us in Kaduna Road. If we're headed to Lagos Road, we're in the wrong direction. What is happening now is that we're telling people we're going in this direction, but we're going in that direction. And so if you don't know where you're going, every road will lead you there. That's the confusion.
Can Nigerians trust that commitment of a single term from you?
So I said it and I put it in capital. I don't need a day more than 4 years. In fact, the day
and
before,
you fix Nigeria in those 4 years.
It's not. I will show the direction of good governance. That's why I said.
To what end is this one single? Why do you want to spend? The Constitution allows you. You've been a two-term governor. Why do you want to?
In 2 years, there had been maximum damage. That shows 3 years can change it in good direction. People want to get up and see a president that cares, a president that shows compassion. So today we have a country without compassion. Leadership without compassion does not exist. The minus. It's not good for the country.
Is there anything that you say that this government is doing that lacks compassion?
So, in December 18th or thereabout, several children died in a battle. I think it was December 18th. On the 19th, the president from Nigeria flew from Abuja to Lagos for Christmas holiday. Saying, I will not do it. I'll go to Ibadan. I will go and look for their parents and cry with them.
The president
I will show them.
If the president went to Benue.
No, one minute. Well, there was no compassion in that. People lost their children. People lost their children that will lead this country tomorrow. He didn't do that.
I think that is an unfeasible promise being made there by this man from Oka. So now, in whichever country you are listening to me from, people die every. Let's take the United States. Every day, a countless amount of people are shot dead every single day, every single hour. If the president is pausing national matters to go and attend to whoever was shot where and when, then it will do nothing but that. it would do nothing but that. So there is the symbolism of attending a particularly nation felt incident. So there's the symbolism of that. But if you have to respond to every single disaster thing on a presidential personal level, then no function will take place. Applicable in America, applicable in Germany, applies in France, etc., etc. So there are in which country are people not being killed on a daily basis needlessly? Name one country on this planet that this is not the case. So it's an unfeasible promise, of course. But then, of course, Peter Obi is a bit like Omoyele Sowore. He can say anything, knowing full well that he's not likely to be in a position to be held accountable to those promises.
Christmas holiday. In Benue, he was not there for days. So I will go the first day. And when he got there, he said he couldn't visit the community because of bad road. So he has not gone to Niger State, where we lost over 200, and now they said it's 600 that they're still missing, and it's presumed dead. So it's only about 15 minutes flight from Abuja to Niger. There's no compassion. So we have watched our president, top government officials in this capital of Abuja commissioning bus stations where we lost 20-something soldiers in Niger. So it will not happen. Is commissioning road more important than our soldiers that are dying? Is commissioning road more important than our children?
You know, this contrived indignation that this guy does, there's a lot of things detestable about Peter Obi, but this contrived sanctimonious indignation that it does is the most detestable about thing about this guy. It's such a fake actor just putting on all this. Imagine just what he's saying. So every single disaster has to be a national event, and Nigeria, that a country that is subsumed with disaster on a daily basis, then the function of governance stops to be wringing hands. And he says he's going to go to Ibadan to go and cry with the parents, fake tears, of course, because he doesn't really care. So it's just there's even no meaning to it. So a soldier dies somewhere in the course of his duty. So therefore, the function of our state must stop in order then to acknowledge that moment. Then the next day, another soldier dies. So why have you not stopped the function of state for the second soldier? Because you did it for the first one. So a disaster happens in Ibadan, you go and attend. But then when a disaster happens in Jalingo, why are you not there? Is it because the Ibadan people are your people? When the next disaster happens in Anambra, why are you not there? Is it because you know it's just a ridiculous, it's an unfeasible sort of a promise. You see, this is where Peter Obi always gets it wrong. It's not so much whatever it is, it's not so much the optics, it's the actions. What actions are you taking for these things not to occur? Rather than you going there to wring hands and do fake tests in front of cameras, just to be the fake actor. You know, it's the actions to prevent these things rather than the optics of our running around disaster. They call it ambulance chasing, you know, in law. There are certain lawyers that they specialize in, you know, looking for incidents to then go to the victims to try and commission them, you know. So it's like ambulance chasing, just chasing all over the place, using disaster as a political optics, which is, of course, what Peter Obi specializes in.
Children are not in school. So is the road more important than children being in school? There's no compassion. There's no governance. I will not be, look at this week. This week alone.
You know, there are very few things I detest more in politics than having to listen to this guy. It's just so fake. It's a tribalist, we know that. It's a religious bigot, we know that. It lacks the the mental capacity, the experience, the imagination to govern anything. We all know that. And he will be doing all these righteous, contrived righteous. Anyway, let me just leave all that.
Monday, 30-something were killed in one of our states. Tuesday, 13 was killed in one of our states. Yesterday, it was
all right, so let's go with the example that Peter Obi just said. He's made the promise then that he will go to all of these disaster areas to sympathize and empathize. So now he's not telling us that Monday X amount was killed, Tuesday X amount was killed, Wednesday X amount was killed. So what Peter Obi is telling us then that if he was president, he will be going then on Monday to where X was killed. He will go on Tuesday to where Y was killed, and then they'll be going on Wednesday to where Z was killed. So that is the narrative that is contriving to present what empathy should look like. Is unfathomable. It's beyond belief.
Over 10 in Anambra. This morning is over 13 in Sokoto, and our president is in island of St. Lucia. That is not even up to the size. Island of St. Lucia is 617 square kilometers of land. Mina is 6,700. Mina is 10 times the size of St. Lucia. In terms of population, St. Lucia is only 180,000 people. Ajegunle is 560. Ajegunle.
St. Lucia is a nation state. Ajegunle is not. So I'm not quite sure what's the argument being presented here. I'm not quite sure what's the correlation. And it's going back to quoting all these ludicrous. I don't know why he quotes these figures. Nobody sees him as an intellectual. Nobody sees him as an educated person. Nobody sees him as a statistician. So quoting all these incoherent anytime you interrogate any of these figures, they fall apart fairly quickly, and he continues to spew them out. I'm not quite sure. Maybe he's convinced himself that spewing out all these figures gives him a sense of being a knowing sort of. I don't know quite why he does that, coming up with all these ludicrous figures that he spews.
So what is our president doing there?
So that trip is a waste of time. Is that what you're saying?
No. See, I won't do it. If I'm going to go to St. Lucia, that won't last more than 1 day. Our president has not even gone to anything for 2 days apart from Lagos. I will be in Niger State. I will be in Mokwa. If there's any place to stay longer days, it's in Mokwa, where I have lost now 800 to 1,000 people. Why would I be there? He even gave some children scholarship in St. Lucia. When we have 18 million out-of-school children, with our capital, children are not in school. Shego, that's not governance. The country needs governance.
I mean, are we looking for saints to run this country?
No, we're looking for competent persons with capacity, character, and compassion.
So we don't belong to a gang of saints?
No. Saints, even saints.
No, Gregory.
No.
But you're not a saint.
No, saints, we are from President, and a combination of the great saints, Peter and Gregory. So it's not just I'm Peter.
But in character, you're not a saint.
No. In character, a leader must be somebody, I said, must be competent. He must have character and behavior, public conduct to show that this is right, this is wrong.
Let me ask you.
We saw an example of that competence and character and behavior in Ikeja recently when they demolished a property that is stole from a woman and is now running with his camera crew, telling lies all over the place. His imaginary brother owns the property that he owns, only because he's told us lies previously that he doesn't own more than 2 properties. So a pathological liar.
I'd like you to clarify this because I watch a lot of conversation around you, and I mean, around every major political figure in this country. How do you clarify this reputation that you work for the Abacha government or in the Abacha government?
So I've never worked for government before I became governor. I can tell you that.
Did you do anything in special?
So let me clarify for you. I've never worked for any government before. So I was a very successful businessman. And everybody knows that. I was a very successful businessman. I built my business from scratch to something of a future. As a businessman, I'm also part of those who were controlling trade in Lagos then. There was a time during Abacha's government, it even happened during Obasanjo's government. There was a time during Abacha's government, because when Abacha took over, they said all ports, seaports and everything closed. So they came out with a policy that caused congestion in our ports, even in the airport. Goods were not being cleared, goods were not being exported and everything. And some of us felt, no, we need to go and see the head of state then, or at least the commissioner for Minister of Finance, who was I think it was Annie. So we came to Abuja, about 50 of us. We had an audience with the Minister of Finance and the President and the head of state then, and we were able to elucidate the problem we're facing. The President then directed the Finance Minister.
Listen very carefully here, because it's about to tell yet another lie.
That he should take some of us who are the leaders, should just form a committee to decongest all the ports in Nigeria. And there were about 10 or 20 ports. Make sure that in each committee, one of us is involved. That's the only thing I had to do with the port. And then when we finished, which lasted maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they said, it is now time to probe and reorganize the port, because I had written in one of my comments that Nigerian Port Authority is the only port I know in the world that have an office outside its country of operation. And coupled that they've seen whether they said, you become a member of the panel. He said, if anything, I was a member that tried to reorganize and sack people. Say he has nothing to do with working government. I've never met Abacha. I don't know him. I'm not in the military. Say everything I've done in my.
All right. So even there's a lie there. He said he has never met Abacha, but just in the previous breath, he told us he met the Minister of Finance under that administration, and then he met the head of state, which would be Abacha then. So that's a lie, of course. But let me expand that lie with this.
The difference between what I'm going to tell you now, which I said before, is implementation. Even if the worst person had come to Nigeria who didn't know anything, and started implementing what people have been writing for 28 years, things would have changed. Just said, I was telling them a story last night about Abacha. How we were almost supposedly be arrested for not paying duty. The port was congested. Everything was under Abacha. You clear goods so faster than you can do today. And we did everything. So we're supposed to be under arrest because they said we didn't pay duty. We didn't do anything. So we went to Abuja to see Abacha. We were 100. They said they're going to lock us up. Only 30 agreed to see him. And when they said I should speak, I started talking. Halfway, the man banged his table and said, call I need the minister. He said, form today. What the congestion? You see this boy who is talking, which is me. Chairman, thinker.
So there he is right there. So in that interaction right there, it says a dialogue with presidential candidate on Nigerian economy. He told us in just now this recent Kimbaloye interview, he told us that there were 50 of them that went to Abuja and they saw the minister and Abacha, and then immediately told us that they never met Abacha, that he was just a member of a panel that lasted no longer than 2 weeks. that he never met, he never had an appointment under Abacha. But in this interview right here, is telling us then that as soon as he started speaking to the problems that took him to meet Abacha, Abacha banged on the table and told the relevant minister that make this guy chairman of the Tinkan Island immediately. So which is it? He has never had an appointment under Abacha, or Abacha made him the chairman of Tinkan Island. It's the same person telling you two totally contrasting narratives. But that is Peter Obi, of course, a pathological liar.
My life is in the public space.
Let's take a brief break, and when we return, our conversation with Mr. Peter Obi continues. Let's continue with our conversation. I mean, you seem to campaign more about frugality than investment. That those who say those monies that you're talking about that you're leaving could have been invested.
So I invested it. I invested in education, which is the most critical investment a nation can do. So I took the state from 20-something in Waika to number one. So under me, and I challenge any state, under me, all secondary school, I can go down to primary, all secondary school in Anambra State had a functional science lab, had a sick bed, had a generator, had 2 buses, had computers. Go and ask HP till today. I bought the highest number of computers ever sold by HP to any state in Africa. The order, they're there. You can go and ask HP, or you can go ask the star of, let me remember his company now. You can go and ask him. No other person has done it.
If you become president, you will be frugal, yet you invest.
No. If I become president, I use the resources effectively. I cannot say buy a new jet.
Even if you need one.
I don't need one. You don't need one.
See, this is really what I detest about this guy. So the question, no consistency, they're asking him then that, you saying that you saved all this money is actually bad administration in a space that has such grueling deficits right across all of the paradigms of development. So that was the question. But then he pivoted to telling us that he took Anambra State from XYZ to number 1 in WICH. We all know about the miracle centers, and that's a false equivalency. But what he was actually asking him is that what did you do in terms of development and enduring legacy that propels development within that space? That was where the question is. But then he pivots. What we find with Obi is that it's the same thing always. It will pivot to some righteous indignation. It will start to talk about the presidential jet and the vice president's villa that was renovated, and it will then do Chineke May, and it will do indignation. It will do all this hand flapping and raised. That wasn't the question that was being asked him, and the answer has ever never in any relationship with the question. Never ever. What will you do in terms of development? That was the question.
Because you can go to anywhere without jet. I will never need one.
You fly Obi'S, you fly Ghana, you fly here.
Of course, baby. I will not use 150 billion to buy a jet when 80% of our primary healthcare centers are not functional.
Even as against security protocols.
Which security?
You've been a governor, you know
what
it means.
No, what do you mean security? That's what they say. That's nonsense they tell. I was a governor for my first 4 years. I drove 406. For the rest of it, I didn't drive a bulletproof car. Nobody's trying to kill you. You're doing the right thing. It's when you do the wrong thing that you're about that.
Would security agency even allow
you? Forget all those things. If your people are dying, you should be ready to die. That's the job you chose. Or you go back to your house and live quietly. The president should also be ready to die. if your people are dying? Why should we have security vehicles? No, you can fly. Who is protecting you in the air? If you catch
the president should not have a security protocol. He should be ready to die, because that is the job maybe he should go to Sambisa forest with an AK-47. After all, there are the soldiers are Nigerians too. So why is the president's life more important than the life of the soldiers? The president, he should sling an AK-47 over his shoulder and go into Sambisa forest to go and fight Boko Haram. That is the sort of president, that is what Peter Obi would have done.
Everybody dies. British Airways flies every day. How many people have died? Are they going to provide you security in the air?
Let me take you to because what is important for our nation today is the alternative and the options that we have as a people, the hope of a better Nigeria. And economy is very key. And I look at this government, the administration says they are focused heavily on currency reforms and subsidy removal, which many say have worsened inflation and hardship for ordinary Nigerians. What alternative economic strategies would you pursue to stabilize the economy and protect the most vulnerable compared to the current government's approach should you become president?
Okay, that's quite a pointed and a direct question. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that Obi will actually attempt at an answer. But at what? He will run into righteous indignation again and he will say, oh, look at the money. He will never say anything cogent or coherent, never mind consistent with the questions being asked. He will run away into this contrived indignation, which is his suit and armor.
So, I campaign on removal of subsidy. Remember, but I said, one, there's a corruption associated with the subsidy that you need to remove first. If you have removed it,
so that's another lie, of course. I'm not going to bother to dig it out, but countless of you have seen Peter Obi. It was asked this pointed question during the campaign, and he told us that he will remove that fuel subsidy immediately. He said day one. The clip is all over the place, but then of course Peter Obi, a pathological liar.
As I said, yes, but it was done in a disorganized manner. So everything is about organization. There's a corruption associated with it that you need to remove first to know the actual subsidy and organize how you can gradually deal with whatever is remaining. And people must have to see the alternative. So when this government removed subsidy, you know what they said? They said is to stop borrowing to sustain it. Oshelo, this government has borrowed more than government of Jonathan.
Now that's a foolish statement to make, actually, because that wasn't even what they said. They did not say they were stopping the fuel subsidy to stop borrowing. They said they stopped it to stop having to defend it, the borrowing to defend. They didn't say which government has ever said they're never going to borrow. So they've never said they're going to stop borrowing. They said they want to stop the borrowing that defends the fuel subsidy. The United States borrow, Britain borrows, China borrows, Japan, but everybody borrows. So I'm not quite sure what it. Anyway, let's just carry on.
Buhari put together. As at the time Buhari left, so our debt was about 80 trillion. Today we're almost 180 trillion.
That's another lie, of course. We fact-checked this, and if you want me to fact-check it again, we'll fact-check it. The Nigerian debt has reduced from what it was under Buhari. We checked the data. That is an outright lie, in fact. That's an outright lie. But then, of course, that's Peter Obi, isn't it?
Without anything to show for it.
Is it a crime to borrow as a government?
No. saying these are part of the laws I want to change. We must now make a law that all borrowing must be for investment. In critical areas of development, you don't borrow for consumption. Without that, you waste everybody's time. Saying I'm a businessman, there's nothing wrong in borrowing. If I borrow to build factory, it's different if you borrow to bury your father. Because your father is of no value, he's gone. It's just consumption. That's why I keep saying that I want to move this country from consumption to production.
For example, what would you borrow for if you were president?
Say I'll borrow to finance education. I'll borrow to ensure that Nigerians have power. I can go on and on. There's so many things.
How long can it take you, for example, to fix Nigerian power situation?
Say
you went to Egypt.
Thank you. So let me learn
from them.
That's it. It took Egypt 5 years. Say we're not going to fix overnight. But remember what I said. Nobody expects 100% success. They want 100% effort. If development and what you do, governance must be measurable. So if we decide, okay, we are now at 4,000. So we can decide, I'm only going to do 8,000. But annually, there must be improvement.
How would you do it?
How
would you fix power?
It's not rocket science. Egypt, I'm not telling you now, say with the 3 countries that improve power in the recent time, unless one did it yesterday, at the time I went to Egypt, we have 3 countries in the world: India, Vietnam, and Egypt. And those are developing countries. So, governance is about learning from best practices. It is not rocket science.
So what do you feel? Have you identified why I'm over 40 and I've not, in my lifetime since I was born, I've not experienced constant electricity, and my children were born into a similar situation? The question is, have you identified what the problem is?
Yes, the problem is in failure of leadership.
That's the problem of electricity.
Everything. If you have a determined leader, he will learn, he will ensure implements it vigorously. Like the president announced that he's happy that the opposition is in crisis. I will go there and solve it. As governor of Anambra State, you see me say it every day. Obi'S is there. He came to campaign for Chekunife. I gave him the vehicles that took him to the campaign. When he finished, he came to my lodge, ate lunch in front of me, standing this way, Uche standing this way. He said he has come to campaign, that I've done well, Uche will replace me. That was in that election. And when I go to, they go say, oh, Peter, you're too weak. I said, I get the people going to vote. When the people voted, they voted for me.
So the same thing that president is doing by employing or appointing Yinsom Wike as FCT minister and empowering the opposition. Is that the kind of thing you're describing?
No, it's not empowering the opposition. I want strong opposition party. Even, let's say I'm president today in one party, I want strong PDP. I mean, I want a Labour. I want strong APC. I want to listen to them. I want to see democracy thrive. I want people to understand. I want to listen to the opposition. Because they may have...
This is a guy that did not organize one single local government election in his 8 years. He was getting the local government allocations, by the way. So what happened to all of that money, we don't know. Maybe that was part of the education that he took from 100 to number 1. Maybe that's what he used the money for. For 8 years solid, this chancellor here, he did not organize local government elections in Anambra State, but now he's the beacon, the very example of what democracy is.
An idea that is superior to what I have. That is governance.
Would you be forming something like a government of national unity and taking people who are not in your party to form government? Is that the kind of thing you would do?
So we are talking about Nigeria. If they have something that is better, I'll take it.
You appoint ministers outside of your party?
It's not a question of appointing ministers. I'm appointing Nigerians. who are competent. Happens everywhere. So the government of England went to Canada to hire a central bank governor. Do you know how old England is? That colonized Canada. They went there.
I did not know that England had a central bank governor. I thought it was for the United Kingdom, but never mind. He's only lived in England for 20 years, so why should he know?
Because they want it to function. It's only in this country that you put in competent people in a place because they're your relation.
Well, is that not exactly the example of Yemsen Wike that Shehu just presented to him? That Yemsen Wike, for reasons of his talent, never mind him being an opposition politician, he was appointed by the sitting government, and he has validated that appointment with a stellar performance as the minister of the FCT. So that's exactly the point he's making is exactly in congruence, not in congruence, but in it's consistent with what the government of the day is doing. So it just does this high pitched voice of indignant. You don't know what the indignation is, so it's just a dog whistle to ethnicity anyway. Of course, a tribal bigot. Everybody knows that.
Or they know you, and that's what I'm clamoring for. We have voted for incompetence. We voted for tribe. We voted for religion. Let's vote for competence.
Do you think that the North trusts you?
Say, I want them to trust me. The biggest asset of this country is in the North. The uncultivated land in the North. The criminality we face in the North today, I'll deal with it. Say, if I'm president, the North will celebrate me. I have an idea of the problem. Say, I'm in this country when, if I'm looking for cars, I go to Kano. There used to be industries in Bompai 1, in Bompai, Sharadan 1, Sharadan 2, and everything. So I was in Indonesia this year. From February 1 to February 7, meeting from Minister of Health, Minister of Education, Minister of Small Businesses, Minister of this, to former Vice President, to the most popular president. And so you learn, and what they did is not rocket science.
Let me ask you, Mr. Purely. There is a popular slogan that you used in the campaign, from consumption to production.
Yes.
Is that not productive? Let me ask you, because there are those who have also criticized you that what industry did Obi even put in Anambra when he was governor? To start with as an example. But I like to take the Nigerian example.
I mean, you know that industries. They have even used it as an example.
the brewery, right? As one.
Yes.
But the big question here, we're looking at a bigger picture, Mr. Obi. We need to start looking at our competitive advantage as a country.
Yes.
Where will the jobs come the most? Where will the more money come as an alternative to oil? If you are president, where do you think you will focus the most in the very first 1 year that can give us that advantage?
So, I might not turn it around in the very first 1 year, but I can tell you, so we can make more money from agriculture than we make from oil. Any day, any time. I can show it to you.
Which produce will you be focusing on?
Say, we have all the produce. Why did you think? Go and look at the arrays. Do you know arrays, which the colonial masters did, were focused on where we were getting products. So there's so much, Nigerian land is so fertile that we can grow anything. This is not just say we're having a problem. It has one of the best fertile land on the surface of the earth. So the world is today is looking for cassava, they're looking for yam,
I'm not talking about Benue, I'm not talking about Nasarawa.
I can go. You are not
that belt.
You are now the one. As I say, we are now one talking. We have 54,000.
Yes, but what about the 4,000 farming equipment that the government just brought in? What does Peter Obi think they were brought in for? Is it to be decoration in front of state houses all over the country? Does he understand why they've... and the trip to Brazil, by the way, the conversation with the Brazilian president is all wrapped around agricultural expertise. So what does he think is going on? Does he have any concept of anything that is going on?
Square kilometers of land in Taraba, it's not Taraba here. That can grow all that.
Which one would you focus on?
All of them simultaneously, because it's an investment. That's why I said I will borrow and put in investment. You are now borrowing for production, not for consumption.
Have you done the math?
Oh, so it's very easy. I don't need to renovate conference center. There's no conference here. So I've done it as a governor. You ask which industries that I built. So one of the first places I renovated as governor was industrial estate in Orita. Go there and see the number of industries. Jonathan commissioned at least 10 industries there. So come, I will show it to you, including the brewery that I mentioned. That brewery is the biggest taxpayer in Anambra State, pays government. You know.
All right, we're not done yet with our conversation with Mr. Peter Obi, but we need to take another commercial break, and we'll be right back. Do you applaud this government for some initiative, for example, the tax reform bills, those 4 laws that have been signed by the president, the student loan that's been given, the credit call, and this government will say we are turning the curve, and our economy is gaining momentum.
So,
are you able to applaud those kind of initiatives?
The reality in governance is the people. Nigeria has never lacked good policies. What it lacks is good and committed implementation. Remember, Nigerians are very good people. They're committed. That's why every president.
No, that wasn't even where the question is. We're getting towards the tail end of this media interaction, and it's not yet spoken to anything that's been asked of him. So the government has come out with all of this policy positioning. A lot of we are talking about implementation. We're in about the second, going on to the 3rd cycle of the students' loan. We're in the 2nd cycle of the credit core. We're seeing progression in the Lagos-Calabar Superhighway. We're seeing at the Abeokuta something road. There's a countless abundance of road projects that have been renovated, completed. So we're seeing reforms in the tax, which is getting ascension by the president. We're seeing reforms in the local government funding, which is getting ascension by the president. So what exactly is he indignant about? It's just contrived indignation acting, you know.
The president comes and says, things are difficult, let's fast. And Nigerians will jump to it and say, okay, let's fast with you. But then the leaders now go into 50 when they've just asked the people to fast. You can't tell people.
It's going back to the jet, to the presidential jet, and this is the thing he does. He wants to keep the country in a perpetual state of flux. But as the impact of this reform starts to become up, there was a guy, actually, somebody sent me a clip of a guy that is an investor, a real estate investor somewhere in Lekki. So this guy, he came out with a video complaining and lamenting about the poor drainage system, etc., and how his properties were being flooded, all of that. And then not more than 3 months later, this guy now comes and does a full 360 degrees because the Lagos-Calabar Superhighway has passed through one of his assets or some of his assets, and just by that construction that's already been completed, the value of his investment in those property spaces has exponentially grown. So do you see? So that's the impact of governance on a citizen right there. And it then came back to account that it's an obedient to this guy I'm talking about. Is one guy with a funny looking head like that. And it's now coming out to tell us then that heavens will fall before Tinubu doesn't complete his 8 years. So it's the impact of this of governance. And that's the thing. So by the time we get to the 2027 election, we'd have had about 3 going on 4 cycles of students' loan. the Lagos-Calabar Super Highway would have progressed significantly for people to feel the impact. The economy would have settled. We already see the economy settling because, of course, the exchange rate is showing resistance already to establish the value of the naira. And as the economy improves, that value vis-a-vis international currency will start to appreciate. So all of these things, it's called compounding. When all of these reforms compound, then the impact will be so visceral that these are contrived indignation of this funny. Look at the head of this guy, by the way. It looks like a ball. I don't want to go personal. It's a bit childish a thing to say, but I'm always freaked out by the shape of his head. But this contrived indignation that we get from this guy, it will start to ring hollow because the impact is and food, by the way. Remember Ebing Power 2 years ago? We're not hearing that narrative anymore. In the course of this interaction, now he has not spoken about the price of rice. All of his narrative for 2 years previously was the price of rice. So as the effect of the economy starts to pivot positively in terms of its impact on the people, Peter Obi's space, because his old narrative is about indignation, contrived righteous indignation. By the time the impact of the reform starts to be felt viscerally by the people, Peter Obi's space will start to ring hollow because he doesn't have anywhere else to pivot. His old narrative is about Ebin power, and it's a one-trick pony. A one-trick. Have you ever been to a circus where you look at an impressive animal that does a trick, but that impressive animal that trick is only able to do that trick? Peter Obi is a one-trick pony.
To fast when you're 50. You buy new planes, you're renovating houses, buying new mansions, doing this. Say, we don't have a hospital. If anything happens to you or me now, they can't rush us to our national hospital.
They are private hospitals.
No, they have broken that chain. I'm just telling you. This is nonsense. When British Prime Minister had COVID, they took him to St. Mary's. I had a cousin in the UK. He had COVID. They took him.
No, but when the Saudi king, when he falls ill, where do they take him to? That's the thing, though. So you can't draw parallels between a 1,000-year-old uninterrupted country that's been advancedly developed to a third world country like Nigeria. And where does Peter Obi's doctors? They're in London, by the way. Everybody knows that, but there it is. It's just nonsense, isn't it? Remember when he was arrested, Peter Obi, at the Heathrow airport?
St. Mary's. Our national hospital is supposed to be our number one hospital. Go there, they have no equipment. It's all broken down. They have no ambulance. And government officials are driving on the road with.
That's a categorical lie, of course. The national hospitals, why does it even tell all these lies is really where the question is. The national hospitals have equipment, they have ambulances, they have personnel, and they treat people. That is where a good majority of the Nigerians get their treatment. In Lagos, it's even more expansive, where they have even they have micro clinics as well as greater clinics, as well as teaching hospitals and all of that. So why is it? This guy is truth averse. It's averse to the truth. It lacks the capacity to say anything truthful.
That black. So I've never seen government officials anywhere outside Nigeria. He's come for a hand ambulance. Not even, no, I lived in the UK for years. Why? Because ambulance in hospitals. Ambulance are meant to be in hospitals, not to be following government officials.
Is there a promise that I'd like to know?
That's a lie. Actually, there is no presidential or even state governor fleet anywhere in the world that doesn't have a medical vehicle. And they carry the blood type of the president. They carry emergency. Why does it tell these sort of lies? Look at the motorcade of any any government functionary at the high state or presidential level anywhere in the world, and you see medical or even some medical vehicles as part of the accoutrement of that retinue. So why does it tell these lies? Why does it do it? Just unnecessary, unnecessary. He told us he never met Abacha, never mind got an appointment with Abacha, and he told us in a previous interview that Abacha just saw him and banged the table and said, "Give him chairman Tinkan Island." So why does it tell all this just lies, just lies, just lies?
Because all of these, the policies and everything that we're talking about in terms of the economy, is the bottom line is the livelihood of the average person. Completely. The man and the woman who are trying to eke out a living, if they don't work every day, they cannot feed their families. What promise do you have for them? For them to think that Peter Gregory Obi has an idea that can alleviate their poverty, give them some hope. How soon do you think, should you be elected president, that you can help them out of this poverty and this hopelessness?
So it's not going to be overnight. But let me tell you.
But you will do it in 4 years.
From day one, I will tackle the issue of security. You can't tell me that non-state actors can be stronger than state.
How would you do that?
We declare war. Say we've lost more people than countries at war. So let's go to war. Let's do whatever it is. Even this borrowing you're talking, borrow money to put into security, into equipment, get the manpower.
But you will not get those equipment in real time. You have to wait until the manufacturer.
Let me tell you,
frustrating.
If there's nothing you cannot do if you want to do it. It's frustrating.
So this government doesn't have the willpower or what?
All right. So we're coming towards the end of the media outing by Peter Obi. By the way, if you want to voice an opinion, come in. Otherwise, we meet later on in the evening session. So the link is in the comment section. If anybody wants to respond to Peter Obi and his tissue of lies, just goodness me.
I told you. People are being killed. They're not even there. They're commissioning bus station. So you cannot tell me that I, Peter, will be sitting where we have 10 soldiers, right? Which I'm not sure are police, die and everything, which I'm not sure they're being killed. And my job is to sit for 2-3 hours where they're commissioning bus station. Say, we will not do it. I will shut it down and go out there.
You declare state of emergency on security.
No, if there's a war, we declare war. We can be at war. There's nothing wrong in saying our country is at war.
You, by yourself as a commander-in-chief, go to the war front.
I can tell you, Shane, I might not go physically, but I'll go. Because I'll be with the people there.
They did not tell us that you must be ready to die if you are the president, but he will not go to the war. Look at this guy. He's such a clown.
They will know I'm with them.
What are they?
Yeah, this have happened to me as a governor. I wish you can go and meet my police commissioners when we have problem. One is there now, John Haruna. The other one is alive, Bello from Kwara. I told them we are at war. You must see me 24 hours. Ask them, or ask my commander of the army when I was there. Enenche is in Abuja here. Ask him, I told him we are at war. Enenche, you can see me anytime. I must stop this criminality. And I'm happy that if you look at an interview from then A.G. Abubakar, I say, well, 5
we remember we remember how we stopped the criminality in Anambra State. He was having people killed extrajudiciously and throwing them in rivers. That was it. About 500 people he got killed in one go.
Of bank robbery, major crime in Anambra State.
But there was straight of the kidnappings and a few of those.
There's nothing you will not see anywhere in the world. The kidnappings in America, they kill people in America. The difference is that if anything happens, there's a reaction from government. People want to see
you government. Have alternatives, on how to solve, because we've been employing the same techniques over the years. Have you learned a new way to solving this insecurity problem?
There is so many. Even I told you, there's what they call natural insecurity. That is pulling people out of poverty. So by the time you invest, the entire state in the north cumulatively, over the past 2 years, have not been able to support their SMEs with more than maybe, let me be there, 50 billion. I've been to 2 states in the north who told me they applied for Bank of Industry, saying there's 150 billion used to buy plane and put it as a matching fund, just for example, and get another 150 billion, that's 300, shared by the 19 states, call it 20 states, so it will get 15 billion. Within this period, and you give it to these young people. So we have gone to prisons and see these young people that have problems. And I ask them, why did you do this? They have no job. They don't know where the next meal will come from. And if you don't know where the next meal will come from, so nobody can know or imagine what you can do.
Let me ask you, as a governor,
if Peter Obi feels that lack of employment is what propels criminality, then it's even dumber than I thought. And everybody knows how dumb I think Peter Obi is. But if he thinks that it's lack of employment that propels Boko Haram, the Fulani bandits, etc., if he thinks it's lack of employment or lack of gainful occupation of their time, if he thinks that's the propulsion, then it's even as dumb as I think Peter Obi is dumber than I thought.
Now, there are those who say the federating units need to play their roles. There's just a president of the Federal Republic and the 36 state leaders of 36 state government. The question is, issue of state policing come to bear. What would you be suggesting as the alternative solution in governing all of the states of the country and making sure that they are properly policed?
So I will have community policing, I will encourage it. Local government policing, I will encourage it. State policing, I will encourage it. Federal policing. So as governor, every community in Anambra State have community security system.
Is that not what's being processed by the government though? Because I don't quite get what this guy is saying. Everything he's saying is already, it tells us that it will that, oh, with their fertile land in Benue, Nasarawa, etc. But then of course he forgot that the government is exactly pushing in terms of sustainable food production, food security, with a massive investment in that particular eco space. We are all seeing it. We saw the tractors being delivered. We're seeing the conversations going on in Rio de Janeiro as we speak. We're seeing we are seeing the synergy between the Ministry of Works and the Ministry of Land, and we're seeing crops starting to come out. How many times have we had gluts in our particular products? Tomato, pepper, yam, etc., just from the so what exactly is he saying? That he will just go there and snap his fingers and it will happen? There's a process to these things. I will have state policy. What does he think is going through parliament at the moment, and how is he going to tackle the resistance to people resistant to it? And it has no concept of anything. It doesn't think that when you get there, you just snap your finger and say, oh, do this, do that, do this, do that. It doesn't think that is how it works. Just this, the level of buffoonery.
10 to 20 persons paid directly for my office as governor was paying for the security personnel that was manning it. So if you stay in one town, the radio, you cannot. The 3 major criminals that were operating in the southeast, everybody knows them. You will not know because of the Igbo names, Ofaku, Oisikanku, and Wekelo. Welcome to Anambra State. Because once you sit in one town, the radio, they must get in another town. So I would do, that's why I said, I would do whatever it is to secure the country. Security is number one. You say nobody's going to come and invest in Lagos if you hear there's bomb in Boronu, because there's no way the bomb will come to Lagos. So you need to, the reputation of your country in terms of security, in terms of local investment, is critical for it to.
I mean, when you touched on the issue of the security in the Southeast, there were those who criticized you, that you never came out to condemn the role IPOB and those who were the agitators and those who were asking for sit at home. And some of the killings that happened.
They are not following me. I've condemned killings everywhere, even the one that happened in Anambra yesterday.
I'm talking about the role of IPOB.
I said I've condemned everything. The only thing I said about the agitators, let me tell you now. So it doesn't matter what, there's Yoruba agitators, there's other agitators, there's Israel agitators. I will talk to all of them. There's nothing wrong with agitators. Anybody who says, okay, come on, let's talk. You must exhaust the reason, you must exhaust. But see, I see all those functionalities as a function of a dysfunctional, is the result of a dysfunctional society. If you do the right things, all these things will collapse on its own. So what I'm going to unleash here as government, somebody who works in government, will change it.
Would it be canvassing for a political solution to the case of Nnamdi Kanu?
For every one of them. I mean, why is it being held? It doesn't make sense to me. Some people say because he used vulgar words.
And there it is right there. Peter Obi does not understand why Nnamdi Kanu is being held. That is to tell you then that as soon as he becomes president, God forbid, which will never happen, of course, Nnamdi Kanu will be released immediately. There it is right there.
And everything. Is there anything wrong? I've not seen it. People just say, oh, you see vulgar words. You say, it doesn't bother me if I'm president, whether you call me thief, call me a left man, call me idiot, which they call me today. It doesn't bother me. My duty as a leader is to the common man to put food on their table.
Well, if you are talking about the situation in the Southeast, is it the same way you handle the agitators and those who are killing in the Northeast and the Northwest?
Remember what I said. If there are people I can talk to, I will talk to them. But remember what I said. Once I exhaust reason, I'll deal with it. Let's say tomorrow we have a bandit by name so operating in the Northeast. I'll look for him. Quote me anywhere. But remember, that is just establish a link to say enough is enough.
Afterwards,
deal with it decisively.
Are you happy with the peace and the quiet in the Southeast after the arrest of Simon Ekpa?
There's no peace anywhere like I know in Nigeria now. So for me, I just told you they killed 10 yesterday in my state. Is that peace? People are being killed everywhere in Nigeria. Everywhere.
Let me ask you quickly, Mr. Obi. A lot of your followers believe so much in you. And those who do not believe in you, they don't think that you're the right man. Why do you think that Nigerians should trust a Peter Gregory Obi that will give them hope and will give them focus? Can they trust you?
Cheryl, everything I've said, I did. As governor, when I was campaigning to be governor of Anambra State, I said I'll fix education. I'll make sure I improve in education. There will never be a time children will not be in school. I can show you education increased. It became better. I said we're going to deal with the issue of health. We didn't have one single school of nursing and school of midwifery. By the time I left, we have more schools of midwifery and school of nursing today than any state. So I talked about rural roads, opening up roads. You can go on and on. It is not the same.
So Nigerians can.
Like I said, no.
You have the solution.
What they can do. When I talk about corruption, see, we have fight corruption head on. Head on. And I said it. If you, who is number one, either national level or state is not failing, your wife is not, your family is not reduced by 50%, it's an experiment to it. I've had people now who say, oh, but you're corrupt. But Shehu, I left 36 billion naira I would have stolen. I left $150 million I would have stolen. So have you ever seen a thief leave what he can
But
steal?
people will make reference to the Panama Papers and some of
No,
the
Shey, I ask you a question. Have you seen a thief leave what he can steal? Even in the church today, you go say, take your phone, mind your phone, because there's no thieves come there.
The fact that he is claiming he left XYZ amount of money, which is a lie, does not mean that he did not. Everybody knows he stole now. We know about the 250 million naira he stole in cash. We know about the money he stole and packed in Panama Papers. And we're now finding about the money he stole and packed in a property in Ikeja, which is now being demolished. So everybody knows that he stole. Everybody knows he stole. He built a brewery under his wife's name from Anambra State government, put all of the money in his own bank account, the state money. So we all know that he stole. The fact that he left whatever it is that is claiming he left, which his successors tell us is a lie, does not then mean that he did not steal.
No thief have left what they can steal. So when they talk about Pandora Papers, I say go and investigate it in full. So you know we exaggerate here. That is a legal entity for estate arrangement. So we will focus on the critical areas of development.
Mr. Peter Obi, it's a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much. And I wish you the very best in the coming days.
All right. So there it is. At least it's a marginally improved interaction from Rufai Oseni, which was just a ridiculous something or the other. We've got Kenny here. So we just take a comment from Kenny and then we will just wrap it up. Kenny, did you listen to your friend, the squeaky voice from Orca?
Oh man, it was so annoying to listen to. I've just been patiently listening to that all along. I was listening to it yesterday on the when this guy actually played live, but I only watched half of it. He's so annoying. He's full of lies. He doesn't answer direct question. When they ask him A, he's going to the B. They ask him, what kind of economic plan do you have? He couldn't say anything about that. But woman, see, I'm actually angry with Sheung because he's not pressing him enough. And because Sheung himself is obedient. I'm still waiting for one journalist that will actually press him on issues, not on all these pedestrian things that he's talking about. Budgets, I'll do the one, I'll do. He never give any direct answer because he has no clue. He has no answer to give. He asked him the question, how many factories do you build as a person? Because he said he wants to go from production to construction. He couldn't give a good answer. But you see have all these gullible Nigerians that say follow, listen to him. Woman, it's so annoying listening to this guy. In fact, it was paining my ears to listen. You know? Listen.
All right, brilliant. So Kenny, it's going to be a snapshot something because I have to head out in about 20, 25 minutes. So stay there. I'll go around the people that have turned up and then I may just leave you guys to your conversation and just let it run out. Probably come and shut it down later. Hijo de Dois. I hope I pronounced that right. Hijo de Dois.
Hijo de Dios.
Yeah, well, there it is. Español. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, todo bien. Yeah. Mama, I just came up. Help me to open my distance. I don't know what is going on now.
You're not locked out now. I've told you.
I can't see my comment now.
I've checked on YouTube. I've checked on StreamYard. Your name is not banned. The only name that is banned is that tribalist old boy that is always.
No, you know before it's Nigerian, but it's a Hijo de Dios now. Maybe that's why you are mistaken.
All right, maybe I'll look for that as well. But it's certainly not banned anywhere that I can say. I didn't ban you, and I can't imagine why anyone else would. But I
didn't even see I can't see my comment. I don't see anything. I said, what is happening? I thought because I was in Nigeria, I came back. The same thing. I have to use this phone. The same thing is nothing.
I'll check again, but like I said, of course I wouldn't ban you, and I cannot imagine that anyone else would. But I'll check again. Did you want to give us a little flavor on Peter Obi and his whatever we just
still everything. We are just still watching the coalition, you know, those this what is there now? This arena that want to take I want to be rescue Nigeria. I wonder what have they done. People are just a bunch of clowns. They are not ready. I don't believe anything from all those people. They are just looking for power, because they don't have anything they will present it to Nigeria that they are alternative. What they are going to do different. Even the coalition, all of it, there is problem already in it. Because this one want to be president, the other want to be president. Almost three of them have ambition there. So what are they going to do? Are they going to happen? So I don't even know. But my own problem is with Obi because I don't know if he said he's not in a Labour, he's still in Labour Party. But I think 3 days ago, the day Charles interviewed Dati, because I watched it. Charles said in his Twitter handle, he wrote there that he has resigned from Labour Party. Also I don't really know where Peter Obi even stands safe because even the
Peter
coalition.
where he stands, never mind you. He doesn't. But
I know.
it'll be interesting going forward how this thing plays out because I suspect he may well end up at that ADC, but then of course they
No,
go to play him when he goes there.
no, Peter Obi, you can't, we end up in NDC, but Atiku is just going to use him now. Obi is Atiku boy now, you understand? Don't you see? They always say that Atiku is his organa. So
Atiku will give him his own presidential ticket. Atiku will never give it to him now. So I mean,
no, that's impossible. But people want to use him to get vote. Maybe we make him a vice president. Maybe at the end of the day, because they what they run 2019 and they have about 12 million. 12 million votes. You understand? So maybe that's what they want to use. But my problem, why the Igbo now are afraid of Atiku, that is just my problem. Because I was on Twitter yesterday, all of them are just shouting, be or nothing. Blah, 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 blah. Hey, they should not go for primary. They should go a consensus because Atiku. I think they say Igbo is the richest man. So let them fight dollar with Atiku. Now let's see it now. So why are they afraid? If it is dollar, let them bring the dollar out and fight it with Atiku. And collect it. That is the way. I don't know whether these people are just thinking that we just come and hand over this presidency for free. Fight at people with dollar to dollar. Anybody that have the more money will win. We win the ticket. If Obi can get the ticket of that, this is over. You understand? But for him, think that because I'm listening to Twitter yesterday, thinking that Atiku will now leave his own ambition and now say, okay, Obi, you come and be president.
Everybody explained to him, but it's just talking.
Must be living in another world. I don't think in this Nigeria. Maybe he doesn't understand because the way he speaks, doesn't understand the Nigeria politics. Even what is going on in Nigeria, I don't believe anything like that. All the whole coalition is just for unless anybody want to see. Just look at it from the beginning. Everything is just for Atiku. It's not for Obi. Even look at the day they went there. The day they give they hand over the party to the Mark. Look at Obi was just in one place like a beggar. They didn't do anything. There is YouTube that is making math on social media. I was in one place like he didn't even have a say inside the crowd there. They're not even doing anything. But I see Atiku boys all over the social media. They are already promoting Atiku. So they should just come back and just go and know better thing. I believe they should just go back to Labour Party and fix there. Talk to Aburi. Maybe they will give him another money. So the way they do the primary first time. So give them ticket there. That is only where Obi should just go and focus. All this one, lion that is more than him. They should just forget. They're just going to cry and begin to say Nigeria, not this thing. They are raising. They didn't like it, but that is where everything will end after the coalition. You will see. You will see after everything. We'll turn it to tribal. Thank you, my brother.
All right, brother.
Please, one man, don't forget. Please check me because of please.
I'll double check again because even as you're talking, I was checking. I still can't find it, but maybe when I get back from where I'm going, I'll check again about. Thank you. Let's go from you to Arogidigba. So Arogidigba, your friend, not mine, Peter Obi, he came out today. What did you make of it? The gapped tooth from Oka. We can't hear you as always. We can't hear a single word.
I think I'm basically getting rid of this thing. It's actually always useless.
No, we still can't. It's quite squeaky and distant. No. All right, let's go on from you to Sam O. Whilst you're trying to sort that out. So Sam, Peter Obi came out. It was yesterday, wasn't it? What did you make of it? Hopefully, you saw the fullness of it either earlier on or in this stream. Good to see you, Sam.
Good day to everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly. Carry on.
Yeah, I watched the interview yesterday, like every other person. I don't know how to say this without messing up some people's brain this afternoon. Sitting down listening to this guy is so depressing, can be very traumatizing as well, and very unsettling, very disconcerting, I would say. Obi is a dull man. And I must put it very succinctly, he's a very, very dull man. He's a dullard. He's been asked questions, goes straight to the point, and he dances around these questions. He doesn't shoot straight at the answers, and he does this deliberately. Are you surprised that before he answers the question, he first calls the interviewer's name, like Sheung? What are you calling his name for? Answer the questions you are being asked. I know before we say a little thing now, they will ask us, okay, where is your own savior, Tinubu? Why is he not answering questions? Why is he not facing the media? But this man is in opposition. He's touting himself to be like the face of the opposition in the town, like he wants to take over the system. Fine, he's got the right to do it. No against whatever he's doing, but he's wasting his time, and so see the lack of clarity in speech and in thought, and I can't just make up what exactly he's saying. He is so full of.
I think that one is a consequence of the other because it lacks a coherent thought, so it cannot then give expression to it because his thoughts are not clear, like you said.
He can't just put them together. It's just so many moving pieces all about that cannot just come and stick, And Obi is oh God, I enjoy what I'm seeing. Like everything looks like a drama to me, of which it is, and we're just waiting for 2027 to come. It's unfortunate for Nigerians as a whole. Like election, we're in the election season now, and it's too early to get into this. 2 years before the election, and Tinubu actually didn't start this. I mean, these opposition guys actually kicked the ball rolling. Now you don't expect the government in power to just keep quiet and start folding their arms, like Abacha is already saying, like the APC is jittery because of one ADC that is not. That doesn't know what they're looking for. They're just a bunch of disgruntled politicians are looking to hijack the polity and hijack power and start to, railroad us again to where we don't know. I mean, these are the same people that were in power. Aregbesola, can you imagine, compare Aregbesola to this Tunji Ojo, for God's sake? It's like day and night. Aregbesola, the only thing I knew from them was just coming out to tell us there will be holiday tomorrow, Eid al-Fitr, there will be Christmas holiday tomorrow, as if that's the only portfolio he's got, or the duties or job description of him being the erstwhile Minister of Interior. Can you see the difference between him and Tunji Ojo, for God's sake? See what WICH is doing, despite the fact that he's in opposition. I mean, Obi'S, he needs to. I'm enjoying his drama anyway. It's just, this is the same Obi that was caught with 250 million in the boot somewhere in Apapa, Lagos. Saying, man, I don't know how people are really, really following this guy, to be honest. And I understand people who are from his clan, very, very insular and clannish. They know all of these frailties. They know this man is not up to what they're putting him to. But then just because he's their man, just because they want the face of them there, that's why they're supporting this dullard. For God's sake. How long are we going to be led by the worst of us? These are the worst of us. Obi is so dull. You have a governor like Soludo in Anambra. You're not pushing people like that forward just because they are leaning towards the party in power. Automatically, they're being hated just because of this clown. Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
Can you imagine him saying he would know security in real time in all Nigerian states? He said he would know the security details in real time in all Nigerian states. How tough is that?
They just asked him a question now. He said he doesn't mind dying for the country. Sheung asked him another question again. Are you going to lead as the CEO of the country, going to war and fighting? He said he's not going to go. What a contradiction. You're not going to go, but you're going to be there with them in spirit. He's fooling his followers. It's Mamidons, like Shoyinka called them. He's already built, I've forgotten the right word to use now. He has built a system that he cannot control, and they're going to destroy him. To be honest, he lacks that panache. You see, if you're going to be a president in Nigeria, you not appear on TV like this every now and then. Check out all those who have been our presidents in the past. I've never seen Bola Tinubu sitting down with anyone discussing this nonsense and foolishness on TV. I never saw Buhari sitting down on TV, sitting down with this journalist discussing what they're not going to do. Those who are ready for power, they don't appear on TV like this. This one is a clown entertaining us, and I'm enjoying the entertainment, to be honest. Obi that never...
You know,
go on.
It's good that they all come out on time right now. So they're actually exposing themselves, especially Obi. Obi is actually exposing himself. He's giving them weapons to work with in terms of campaign. When the campaign started in this time, all these things he's saying, you understand? In another 1 week, he's going to change his tune. So he said different things in every episode of his video. So by coming out early this time, it's going to work against him. Actually, they're not going anywhere in the first place. This guy asked him, you said you only need 4 years to sort the Nigeria problem out. Now he's changing it. That no, I'm just going to lay the foundation. Imagine.
I listened to him the other day where he said 2 years is too much for him to restructure the country, and I'm looking at him like he's just so full of buzzwords, and his sloganeers a lot, like sloganeering would be president. That's what it's going to be. If Obi was a president right now, he will have left the country. He will have run away from the country. He doesn't have the heart for this country, man. That country is a complex place.
He wants to declare war now. The guy's talking about declaring war as though war was
all right, that's much better.
Does he not understand what it takes to mobilize? Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry for coming in abruptly. But does he understand what it takes to mobilize for war?
I'm not saying that your audio, we can hear you now. Yeah, carry on.
Oh yeah. I went to change to a different headset. Well, does he understand what it takes to mobilize for full-scale war? I don't think he understands what mobilizing for war means. Does he understand what a wartime economy looks like? I mean, and does he understand? Nigerians will get very war weary very, very quick. There's conflict. There's
invectives. I'm not sure that he fully understands what you know, because even Seun Okinbaloye tried to redirect him that, look, are you meaning that you declare a state of emergency? Say, no, I will declare war. So what does that even mean? It's just a meaningless use of words, isn't it?
Seun really is a bit of a... I've monitored him for a while. He's an interesting, journalist, crime economic journalist, really. Does a lot of interviews these days. But he's not particularly very...
where are you at now?
I mean, Seun is really... It can be very lax, often,
Moots, who's talking there? I was testing there. Moots was
he didn't know he was on. But
he didn't know he was on mute. Well, Seun can be very... some of his latest interviews, they're kind of poor, he's let people get away with it.
No, but Seun has never been a strong, punchy sort of... the best...
He pretends to be, though. That's the problem. He does pretend. He fancies himself to be this kind of person that he is not.
No, he's not a probing sort of presenter now.
He's not Larry King. He's not Larry King. He's not a media son.
Yeah, but the best person within the Nigerian space that could have been a really good probing journalist would have been Reuben Abati, but he's too partisan.
No, well, the man was heavily involved in the Jonathan administration.
Yeah, so
he's a PDP member, so he's partisan.
Or Malpe Ogun, she can be a bit probing too, but
Malpe actually has a law degree.
Does she?
To the best of my knowledge, I think she's actually primarily a lawyer. I don't know if she ever stumbled into journalism. I think, to the best of my knowledge, I think she's a lawyer.
I think she finished from East Anglia, I think, somewhere around Norwich.
Yeah, I think she's
the best guy was the best guy in China was this guy, but they take him away. What is his name? Chambari.
Chambari was actually that guy that went to work for Buhari. The one
for Buhari, that guy.
No, that is Ajuri now.
Ajuri, he was very good. He was very good.
Obviously,
I don't know why
Well,
they think
jury
that
has been
guy.
soiled. It's been soiled by the presidency. So I guess that's it for him. You know,
Yeah.
once
But
you go into politics, active politics, you cannot be seen as
critic of the government anymore. Yeah, that's true.
He's not a critic of the government, but none of the guys on either side can see you as a fair. You know, you have become soiled. You know, it'd be difficult for you. You know, it went to work for a very, very I mean, the Buhari government followed by the Tinubu government are two governments that have had quite a lot of stiff
But
opposition.
there is something I want to clear. Sorry, there's something I want to clarify in this interview of Peter Obi. The first video, there's one video one man played. That one during the town hall meeting. I think that was the town hall meeting when he said he worked with Abacha and he appointed him to be the chairman. But this interview yesterday, because I watched it, he said he didn't know Abacha. He have never met Abacha. He didn't know any. No, this
I
man.
don't think he
There's
had a
the other
personal
video,
relationship with Abacha.
there's
What?
one video one day they were analyzing the night. I think that lady, Yeha or something like that. He said, during that election, everybody saw that video. Even me, I watched that interview. He said he had been impeached twice. And they were disputing it. Where is the man of press? He said, no, he's one. You know, so why is the man always? I don't even understand. This is power grabber.
One man, can I address this Abacha Obi thing from what I read recently? Where I think you talked about it as well. This gentleman that was involved in
Even the oil block, he said he rejected Tony Jonathan. I watched this guy because he went to do a research and bring. Obi rejected the oil block. He said because he doesn't know anything about oil. That if he's trading or something like that, he could have been or banking. So, but if he rejected, who did he not give it to? That is another thing we have to ask. Because look at the house that demolished. He said this is his brother. At the end of the day, that house thought to be like his Obi company. So there's many things that we have to fashion. This man should just stop talking. That is my own. We should just stop talking and face.
I'm addressing the Abacha situation. So what I've been made to understand is this: that he was kind of like an errand boy for this. This was the name of that fellow that did the whole Abacha thing. What's his name?
Mustafa.
No. That's not Abacha. Sorry, that's an IBB guy. That's that guy that did movement for. What's the name of that movement they formed to scuttle the 1992 the 93 elections? What's that guy now? What's his name? That guy from the southeast that IBB used that went to secure that case.
Something easy or something.
That guy that went to get that secured that judgment to stop the 93 election.
Yeah. Okay. I forgot his name. Yeah.
So I think Obi was his ally. So I think not his ally, but kind of like he's one of his minions at the time.
Okay, Zeribe.
So Zeribe, yeah. I think it was so, and I think it's this fellow there that did. He put out a statement there recently when someone said, okay, what was that former governor from the north that said that claimed Tinubu and his mother they struck a deal with IBB and Abacha. And I think there was a gentleman that came up after that and said, no, in fact, and one of the things he said was that Obi was in fact party to that particular judgment in 1993 to stop the elections. I think part of his reward evidently was that obviously Nzeribe would have been, he was one of Abacha's little minions, himself, Ezego, and a bunch of them. They were informants for the Abacha administration, and I think possibly one of the rewards that they gave one of his boys was Obi's appointment for MPA. I think that's the Abacha angle for Obi. So it is true. He might never have had any particularly personal relationship with Abacha. It might have just been, his godfather, we call him that, was a tool for the Abacha administration, and it will be something as one of.
Sorry, you can't say that. Or hold on, you can't say he never had a personal relationship. Let me play you this.
The difference between what I'm going to tell you now, which I said before, is implementation. Even if the worst person had come to Nigeria who didn't know anything, started implementing what we have been writing for 28 years, things would have changed. I just said, I was telling them a story last night about Abacha. How we went to where almost supposedly be arrested for not paying duty. The port was congested. Everything was under Abacha. You clear goods so faster than you can do today. And we did everything. So we're supposed to be under arrest because they said we didn't pay duty. We didn't do anything. So we went to Abuja to see Abacha. We were 100. They said they're going to lock us up. Only 30 agreed to see him. And when they said I should speak, I started talking. Halfway, the man banged his table and said, call I need the minister. He said, form today for the congestion. You see this boy who is talking, which is me, chairman, thinker. That's how.
So there he is right there. He was in a conversation with Abacha, and
Abacha gave him appointments.
Yeah, he appointed him chairman, thinker, and island. So hold that and then watch this.
In one of my comments, the Nigerian Port Authority is the only port I know in the world that have an office outside its country of operation. And globally, they've seen what they said, you become a member of the panel. It's that, if anything, I was a member that tried to reorganize and sack people. Say we are going to do with working on. I've never met Abacha. I don't know him. I don't know his ministry. Say everything I've done in my life.
So there it is right there. So in the first clip, he met Abacha. Abacha banged the table and appointed him chairman of Thinkan Island immediately. In the second clip, he's never met Abacha before in his life. So the two cannot be right at the same time.
Woman.
I think Obi is actually much more of an enigma when we compare to Tinubu, because I mean we claim that we don't know Tinubu. Really, Obi is quite an unknown, just like Atiku as well. All of them are quite like ghosts, you know. Well, Obi went to Kings, I think he went to Christ the King or wherever that school is. Well, he's quite an individual. So his story is quite not. His story is really not straight, you know. This is brother. He owns a building. It turns out it actually belongs to Obi. The other day I was doing some research in the UK and to be frank, the man is quite something.
You see, media people, they are the one helping this guy to get away with murder. That's the truth. I expect him to have fact and fact check him in everything he was saying yesterday. Imagine when he was lying that I never see Abacha before, never watched Abacha. Why can't you have this? Ask this question that okay, there's video of your interview that you said this, said I said that. But the media people are helping him. That's the issue. It's not the guy is not intelligent at all.
Well, best of luck to Peter Obi.
But to be frankly, Nigeria to become any position, any elected position in Nigeria, let's be realistic. It doesn't need you have to be first class in English or anything or any this thing. So even the constitution says just the primary school this thing can be aspire to any office. My own problem is that if you want to change the situation, give us an alternative. This thing, we are paying fuel subsidy. Now people are suffering. Okay, I want to bring it. That is okay. We will know where we are going. This naira, where the floating. No, I want to go back and be subsidizing it. You understand? This is but not you telling us when they ask you question. You know not. It's vast land. My God, people have been farming there for ages before my father was great father was born. And so are you going to revive it to that during the time of Granite Pyramid? You have to tell us all this problem we have in this Nigerian people that will just come do this jagara, talk anyhow because they know Nigeria, we have short memory, just do put tribe, put religion, then everybody go, they will dash in and dash out at the end of the day, the same place. So all these things they are saying, there's no one straight path that we are going. Tell us the alternative. That is what Nigeria want to hear. Where is your manifesto? What are you people going to do different? Okay, that we see it right from Obasanjo, Yar'Adua, Jonathan, Buhari, Tinubu. Fine. Okay, you said Tinubu is bad. We are set. All of us, we are set. We are feeling the pain. Fine. Okay, now you, what are you going to do that is different? That is it. Don't you telling us America,
The guy
London, China?
All right.
The guy not get anything to tell
Hold
you.
on, gentlemen. I have to head that, so I want to shut it down in the front end. You can carry on your conversation still. If anybody wants to come and to the back end, you can come in. After the later session in the evening, of course. Thank you guys for joining me, and hopefully we'll see you later. Niger man, I will look into that thing, see just why you're not able to comment in the comment section.
Okay, thank you.